I'm Troy Spiral. I respect your time. Please watch this video to the end.
What's the point of this channel? What's the point of House Spiral? Okay, I'm good. So if you normally just watch for the amusement factor, I love you guys, but this one's not for you. The people that actually care about me and about the idea or want to know about it, this is for you.
No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world. Carpe diem.
Misplay. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
I might almost have it. Welcome to the most well. Also, you keep your word.
So this place is infested with nerds? Come on, the two over there. Like nerds, nerds, nerds. Every single person here is a nerd.
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that!
So what is House Spiral? Like what's the point? Well, the point is, it's an idea, and the idea is that we can make the world a better place. We can make our lives better. And it's not that complicated. It just takes some effort. So hugs are good, jerks are bad. I always say that. Well, that's the quick way of summarizing it. The real way is, CKT, courage, kindness, truth. If you have those three things, and you're actively cultivating those three things, and they work, they interlock, then you're a good person. But you have to be honest about it. That's where the truth part comes in. Truth, not just being truthful. You got to do that. But you got to be truthful to yourself and not fool yourself. And we're the easiest people to fool. We are really good at fooling ourselves due to cognitive biases and all kinds of other things. I'm working on a book about. Current title is, I don't know what to call it, the House Spiral Bible. That's kind of, I guess, what I'm thinking it is. But, it doesn't require any belief in metaphysical things. I mean, you're perfectly welcome to do that. A higher power to tell you to be a good person. What you need is, you want to be a good person, period. The end. If you need a higher power to force you to be a good person, you're a shitbag. The end. Now, you might do better if you think you're answering to a higher power, or maybe you are. But that's not the point. The point is, these three things, if you really cultivate these three things and you see it in other people, those are the good people. That's how you be a moral person. Swearing doesn't make you a not moral person. The kind of clothes you wear doesn't make you a not moral person. Premarital sex does not make you a not moral person. What makes you a not moral person is having no concept of truth, kindness, and courage, and you got to mix those three together. They're not separate, because without the truth, it's hard to be kind, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Without the truth, you also don't know if you're actually being kind or actually being selfish, which I wouldn't fault anybody too much for being overly kind for selfish reasons, but you got to be honest with yourself. Am I doing this because I actually want to be a good person, or am I doing this just either to make myself feel better or to win brownie points? Well, those things are okay, but that shouldn't be your primary motivation. And the courage, well, at some point, thoughts and prayers are not enough. You actually have to do it. You can't just, well, I think that's a good idea. Someone that starts things but doesn't finish them, that's called being a loser. People that start something and finish it, that's called a closer.
That's what you want to be. You start things and you finish them, unless you didn't commit to it. If it, I'm just testing the waters on this.
I mean, maybe you already do all these things. That's one thing that some people already do. They already do all these things. The unexamined life, that means, looking at your life and how you're reacting to things and see, is that accurate? Is that the right way to do it? Or am I just an amoeba responding to stimulus without thinking, oh, why did I do that? Okay, I probably should think differently about that. Or why do other people do things? Let me look into the actual reason why they do things, not just, well, because they're idiots. I mean, don't get me wrong, I say that every time I get in the car when I'm looking at the other drivers, but it's not, no. No. Break those all together, you end up with charity, you end up with community building, you end up with all the things that I've been working on since I was 16 years old. Jarek, if you're watching this, he asked me about Blue the Hippo, which hasn't been in any videos for a while, so there you go. Alright, moving on.
The intelligence part, or the knowledge part, that is the truth part, it's not common sense. A lot of it is not common sense. We have cognitive biases and logic errors that we make all the time. Memory is faulty. We don't realize that these things are even happening. So you have to actually look at them. That's part of the self-examination. Now, you don't need to read a book to do this. You can just have somebody like me tell you everything, but I really would suggest reading a book. Many books, actually. But the easiest one, I've read probably about 10 books on this subject, and the easiest one is this one right here. This is my vote. I hope it doesn't show up backwards. Thomas Kitta, Don't Believe Everything You Think. Should be a link eventually in the description. I don't have an Amazon affiliate account. If I knew somebody that did, I would actually just don't buy anything off Amazon without using somebody's affiliate link, because it doesn't cost you anything. It's just money that's going to waste. Maybe I could set one up. I had one before, but after a year or something, they canceled them. Now beyond that, at some point I want to actually make a house spiral list of important cognitive biases, because there's so many that there's not even enough room to list them all. And important logic errors, which I want to go into detail about, but I also don't want this video to be 6 hours long. That book, there's one called Crimes Against Logic, which is a shorter book. It's dense, but shorter. My favorite one is Michael Shermer's book, Why People Believe Weird Things. But I think this one is probably the best overview and easiest read. That's why. This hopefully should whet your appetite. Now, if you don't read, I would suggest audiobooks. If that's too hard for you, I would push you a little bit. Audiobooks, like you can go to audible.com, and I think right now they have I wanted to sign up for it, but I can't. It's like you sign up for free, essentially, and you get 2 books free or something, which is different than when I signed up for it way back when. I don't pay for it anymore, and you could get the audiobooks and just listen to them, which might be easier than reading, I'm sure, for a lot of people.
Almost 20 years ago now, when I started DetroitGothic.net, the point was to bring people together. At the time, I didn't think I would be able to influence anybody into thinking, I need to be a better person. I would just find nice people and try to help them be more social, and it worked. I mean, people got married because they met on DGN. People that don't even live in the same country, they got married because they don't live in the same state. They met on DGN. At the club, I took every new person that showed up, and I'd go around and introduce them to 25 people. And I had multiple people come up to me and say, I never had this much of a friends network before. It feels good. I've had that happen multiple times, and that made me feel really good. I'm finally, something I'm doing is actually working after, a long time of working on that and a lot of money. I think that's not ambitious enough. This gives my life a purpose. These videos, even just the amusing ones, and people get a chuckle out of that, this gives my life a purpose. And I haven't had that for a long time. All the the depression after the car accident, and for years, I'm gonna have to take a break. The PTSD is acting up. And so with the gathering, that's something that's doing a similar thing. I mean, the gathering, the get-together that we have on Thursdays, there'll be a link in the description. I had to lean in close like this because the green screen is just too difficult. You won't be seeing this again until I get a better setup, because this took hours to set up and it's still not going to look right. One of the things that I always thought, you might be, now this is a pride thing, I guess, but that's not part of truth, kindness, courage. Some pride is fine. That it can help you. You get too prideful. That's not being preachy. That's just, you can cause yourself problems and other people problems, and the idea is to make the world better, right? One of the few things I sort of took pride in, and still do, is, people might be better looking than me, more talented than me, better shape than me, have more hair than me. One thing you're not going to have, or at least it's going to be exceedingly rare, is I'm not going to be outworked. Will not be outworked. That start time is 5 minutes before the boss, and your leave time is 5 minutes after the boss, until you make him the boss's best friend, like I always do, and then you leave whenever the boss leaves with the boss. As time went on, that's how I based my self-esteem on, was my ability to produce. Well, then the car accident came, and the end. I mean, couldn't walk, couldn't speak. Years later, I'm still dealing with this crap. I spend probably 6-7 hours a day, literally, just meditating, trying to stay calm, blah, blah, blah. And it was just getting really depressing, because that was my work, and it still is. I'm working my ass off, but it's not visible. You can't see it. And I feel like I have to explain this all the time, because my self-worth was based around that. I'm doing my best to not have that be the case anymore, and just, okay, meaning, you're doing as best as you can. I mean, we all could do better, but I'm really trying. I really am. It's just my brain and my biology are not listening. They're listening more recently. Just in the last 3 months, let's say. And honestly, that's the exact same time that I decided to get serious about this thing here. Because I thought, well, just doing a few videos, and some people were like saying positive things about the whole idea, and I thought, wow, the power. And the thing is, it has nothing to do with personal power. It has to do with the fact that, I could basically just say, you guys should be nice enough times in the course of a funny video, and people that I don't even know, that I've never actually met in real life, are like, yeah, that sounds good. That's awesome. That is just amazing to me. And you can do that much good being a cripple? So that's great, right? So that's the goal. But instead of just having it be vague like that, it's like specifics. Like, okay, specifically, what do we want to do? Well, I want to give $5,000 a month to charity. Okay? That's a specific goal. The Patreon page says right on there. Is that going to happen anytime soon? No, it's not. It's not going to happen until we get a lot more people involved. And I'm thinking this is the quickest way to do it. This is like my gathering uniform. I only own one coat. It's 20 years old, so it's all good. And just say the same kind of things I'm saying. Or hopefully drag them to the gathering. Or, that's not realistic for probably half the people watching this. Instead of sharing like online somewhere, My friend has this thing. Tell them the name of it. Have a look at it. Hopefully all they'll see mostly is the funny videos. None of this long-winded. That's what I feel bad about. That's why I keep saying Patreon only, because what happens is the people that did hit the bell are going to see this long video that only the sort of hardcore supporters are going to want to watch, and that hurts the channel a little bit, because those sort of anonymous people are going to be like, what's this crap? I didn't subscribe for this. Good Lord, I hope we don't lose any subscribers over this video. Okay, so let's do this thing. Let's do it. Seriously. Yes, I grew beard in about 1 minute. So what would you like to see more of in these videos? Please comment below. Hugs good, jerks are bad, spiral out.